It's week 4, and we once again face the prospect of drafting. This week, we're starting our second essay. This essay will be another persuasive essay for an academic audience, but the genre will be new, a textual analysis. Just as a side note, when I say text, I mean pretty much anything that is created with an underlying message. A book, movie, poem, song, painting, video game, anything that you can read, listen to, or view that provokes thought. The goal of this genre is to make an argument about the meaning, message, lesson, or claim that a text is making, the moral of the story, if you will. We often think of stories as just entertainment, but really they are making arguments without stating them directly. Think of the last movie that you watched. What was it saying about the story? Was it a romantic comedy that made a subtle argument about what a relationship should look like or how the right one should act? Was it a thriller that was telling you what good guys and bad guys look like? Was it a cartoon that was teaching you not to give up? It's important to understand that this is not just a summary or description of the text. You're identifying the message of the text and persuading us that your interpretation is valid. This genre isn't about right answers and wrong answers, so don't worry about finding the one true meaning. There will be many. If you can back up your interpretation with support from the text, then you've got a good argument. To begin this essay, you first need to pick a text to examine. You can write about any text that you want for this essay, so pick something that you don't mind reading or watching a lot over the next 2 weeks. Read, watch, or listen to the text and ask yourself, what is it teaching or telling its audience? The answer to that question is your claim, which of course you'll want to state in a thesis. There's an example of a thesis for this genre in the bonus guide I've posted in your modules. Likely you'll need to go over a text several times before you can decide what the message of the text is, so when you pick out your topic, make sure that you pick something to which you have access. Each time you read it, pay attention to the details of how the story is told. The language, the images, the color palette if it's visual, the sounds if there's music, or if there's audio. All of those pieces are clues telling you what to think or feel about the ideas the text is presenting. Let's take Roger Ackroyd, for example. When we look at this novel, it's easy to just pay attention to the basic plot, the whodunit. But as you've seen in your discussions, there's a lot more if you look beneath the surface. Christie is talking about the nature of law, justice, and truth. She just doesn't say it straight out. You have to ask the questions to find the answers. As you've read, you've examined the setting, the characters, language, and patterns in the book. Each of these things has added more to your understanding, as has asking yourself why Christie made the choices she did. We can identify the themes pretty easily: justice, community, trust, and bias. But what do you think the story is saying about these themes? What's the message or lesson here? The answer to that question is your claim. There are 2 key criteria that your claim needs to meet. 1, it's important that your claim be arguable. Don't say, I think this story is creepy or I really liked it. That's just personal preference. That's not a claim. 2, it needs to go beyond just the summary of what happens. Saying this story is about a man who is murdered isn't a claim either. It's a summary. Don't just tell us what happens. Tell us what it means. Let's go back to Christie. If I were to argue, the murder of Roger Ackroyd sends a clear message to the reader that the safety of homogeneous communities is an illusion, that's a claim that works for a textual analysis. It's debatable, specific, and speaks to the meaning of the story. Another example would be, Christie is arguing that no one should be trusted to see past their own biases and self-interest. Again, this is debatable. You could and may disagree with it. And like the first example, it can be supported with specific examples from the text. This is important because most of your support will come from the text itself. If you're using a written text, quote it. If you're using a visual text, describe specific aspects that support your argument. And of course, discuss and explain them. You can't assume that everyone knows the text you're talking about, so you need to walk us through your reasoning. As you work this week, be careful to keep within the very narrow bounds of the genre. It doesn't matter if you like the text or agree with this message for this genre, so don't discuss any of your personal views on it or experiences with it. In fact, don't mention yourself at all. Just write about the message of the text. As always, your assignments are posted in your module, so read through everything carefully. The most frequent error I saw in your last drafts were people who wrote the wrong genre. If you're unsure what question you should be answering, ask me before you start writing. It's a lot less painful that way, and I speak from experience. Also, keep in mind the key elements of your structure. Your introduction needs to do 3 things: hook your reader, set up your topic, and lay out your claim in a formal thesis. Don't forget the thesis, and don't use a purpose statement. Again, I don't want to say, see, in this essay I will. Tell me what you're arguing. Make sure that each body paragraph is developed to 5 to 10 sentences, and be sure to include topic sentences and transitions. Remember the 4 steps to using sources: introduce, inform, cite, and discuss. Citations are a deal breaker, so if you need help with those, ask. Failure to include both in-text and end-of-text citations will result in a failing grade. They are not optional and must be included for all information, ideas, or language that are not your own. That includes statistics, and it includes background information in your introduction. Finally, make sure that you have a conclusion that sums up your ideas and leaves your reader thinking. Do your best to reach 4 full pages in your draft so that you can focus on the details in your revisions. Keep your tone formal and elevated, watch those pronouns, and check your MLA formatting. I don't expect your drafts to be perfect. No one's drafts are perfect. But the more you get right and get done up front, the easier revisions will be. Be kind to your future self. Ask good questions, do good research, and don't leave it to the last minute. Again, I speak from experience. Writing your essay at 3 a.m., hopped up on Red Bull and Pixie Sticks, never ends well. In addition to the essay, this week you have another source evaluation, your weekly discussion board post, and a weekly writing exercise that focuses on creating your own text to be interpreted. Finally, you have a critical reading assignment on an article called "Cops Are Always the Main Characters." This is an example of a textual analysis for a general audience, and I'll talk more about that in the Christie video this week. Reach out if you need help, and good luck!